Hi guys, this is my next video. I'm gonna start to explain to you how I started my permaculture operation. It started with these guys. I have 7 little chicks that I had ordered, and they came a day or 2 old, and we had already researched how to take care of them, and my husband had agreed to it because I've been wanting them for a long time. And finally, he built me this coop, and I have 7 of these guys that are grown now. They're on their, I think, 3rd year. And so here's their giant coop. This is the area that the coop, where they sleep at night. And on the other side, as you can see, is the nesting box. And then I have a giant enclosure for them right here, if you can see that. And I'll tell you how in another video how to take care of them. We had like no experience prior to this, but we just went ahead and did it because we love organic eggs, and I love to be self-sufficient most of all. And here are bunnies. We just got them last year from a neighbor. They're 2 males, they're brothers, and we didn't know whether we had to separate them or any of that, but we ended up asking her, and she said that they can be together because they've been together their whole lives. So this enclosure is really large. The back side, as you can see, has a lot of boxes. It's meant to hold their temporary little homes. And I just replace the cardboard very frequently. I try to cut vegetables and greens from the yard to feed them, along with their pellets that they have over there. And I have their watering system here. And primarily I got them because my neighbor she had too many pets, and so she was giving them to me. And I said yes because bunny poop is actually cold fertilizer or a quick fertilizer. So you can just put it directly into the under parts of your plants, your trees, and it'll fertilize it immediately. You don't have to wait 2 months like the chicken poop. So I'm just trying to enrich my soil as much as possible. I wouldn't have ever thought of this concept before, but as I'm learning more, studying more, I learn things every day. I work really hard in my yard to get it up to snuff. It's not very beautiful right now because it's a work in progress. Like I started bringing in 3 loads of mulch within a year, so several different times, and wheelbarrow by wheelbarrow, the city offers it for free, and I would just haul it in and throw it back here. So this area here in my food forest with the trees and stuff, I think it was about 6 or 7 feet higher than back there in the vegetable garden, because this area is meant to only have the trees and then the understory plants, and obviously now that I've grown so many things into the ground, some things are still potted, but a lot of things are now in the ground, and eventually I'm just going to fill this area up. And there's hardly any walking room because I have so many things. Obviously this area is not meant for the rabbit pen or the chicken coop and run to come over here. So like I said, half of it is meant for the animals, and then the other half is for my food forest. And eventually I'm going to tackle the front yard. But at this moment, I'm just doing it slowly. I will discuss that later as well. Here I have a blackberry, let me see, I'm sorry, boysenberry vine, and it's basically the overflow from that pot, which I had put it in the pot last year, and now it's just overflowing over my plants, which I'll allow because it kind of covers the ground, and if it starts to grow in the ground, it's fine. I can always pull them up to pot them in a pot to give to friends or family. Let's see. Here, I planted a Cosmo seed from my Cosmo flowers last year, purple. And here's more of that boysenberry. And it said that it was thornless, but parts of it still have like tiny bit of thorn. Let me zoom in. Can you see that? That's a prickly thorn, even though it's a thornless plant. But you know, you can just grow it up a trellis or grow it up on a fence and it'll be fine. Here's some clover covered, here a pot that has apple in it that I grew from seed, and I'm curious what it tastes like. Here is some green onion. So like I said, it's dispersed everywhere, and one of the permaculture principles is to grow a lot of herbs mixed with your plants so it confuses insects and pests, so they don't eat up all your brassicas and stuff like that, which that was my mistake over there, where I have all the brassicas, but I do have the fennel and sunflowers and other things, so it's really mixed up. So I have some flowers there that draw in the bees, and then I have, you know, fennel and green onions and garlic. So, and I plan on growing a lot more basil, which is another favorite herb of mine. Here I have some roses growing in that pot. In that pot I'm trying to grow dwarf limes. And over here is a baby longan tree from my mom and dad. It didn't fare too well that first year in the mulch. And it just was dry and it was about to die. And it formed a branch from the bottom of the stalk of the trunk. So I've managed to keep it alive, and now that the sun isn't blasting on it all day, it's doing great. It's forming new leaves. And the reason why I have more shade is because of all of the plants I have back here. So look at this enormous trellis that I made with my husband made it, and it's got passion fruit on it that I bought last spring, and can you believe it filled this entire trellis in a year? Yeah, it's been a year, and I'll show you from the side of it. So it's massive, and now instead of being a beautiful trellis like you see in my other video, it's a cave. So in there I have a trough that I use to water my plants. I fill it with water and I water my plants. And over here is some kale, and I've been they get really tall. You just harvest the leaves up. And what I learned from this is, if you don't want them too leggy and too tall, you can always chop it somewhere down here, and it'll start to grow more leaves, which I plan on doing in the fall. Right now it's kind of hot, and I like the shade that it offers. And here's my little hibiscus bush. We just had a heat wave, and it kind of turned some of the leaves yellow. They're not green and gorgeous and lush right now. So here's my giant lemon tree, and this tree was here when we bought the house, and it is just fully loaded. And then here's my little area that I had neglected last year because I tried to grow things here, and lo and behold, I made a mistake because it's kind of shady under here, under the lemon tree and under the pomegranate tree. So, but last year I decided, because I desperately wanted more plants, more food, I decided to just throw some seeds in here. So here is a pepper plant that I grew from a seed. I can't remember if it was from one of those Anaheim chilies or if it's one of my little bird peppers that are really spicy, but they're tiny. And here's a brassica. It's a cauliflower, which I need to harvest. But it's not a complete mistake because I can just start things here and then move them to the sun. So I'm starting to learn those things. And let me show you. Here's my goji plant. Guys, just ignore all the mess. It's always a work in progress. Every day I'm trying to plant things. I'm trying to start up things. I'm watering things. And it gets to be messy, and that's how nature works. I mean, it can be beautiful, but then it's just going to be a decorative garden or something. Here's my sweet bay leaves. It could be a tree, or you could keep it a little bush. It's very slow growing, and it likes to stay dry, so it doesn't like to be watered too much. And guys, I got this from the store. It's not really in here. It's way down here. I've got to pull out this other weed. But I bought this pretty flowering plant, and I thought it was dead, and now it's coming back. So I really love it. I forget the name of it at the moment. So it comes back in the spring with the flower, so it dies back, and it's a perennial. Ranunculus, that's what it is. I was trying to think of the name. And here I have another apple I grew from seed. Don't know what variety because the tag's gone now. But if it ends up being like a crab apple or something, I can always toss it, or I can always graft on it. So it's not a done deal. It's not the end of the world. And here is some more garlic. Just the smell of it will confuse pests. And in it, I grew a sunflower. And here is a different variety with really, really thick stalks of green onion. Here's an avocado seedling, some basil. This is supposed to be the area where I grow herbs. But I also have plant starts here. And this morning when I watered the potted stuff, I forgot to water that, and they need water because we're going to have a hot day today. It's going to be in the 90s or above, and you just got to take care of it the little babies. Here I have my Swiss chard. It's not doing too well because it had just rained significantly and then there was sudden heat. And I think a lot of plants are suffering. It's not as lush as it was a week or two ago. So here's my blueberry. I'm not sure why it's so shriveled. This is the first year that this one has planted. Maybe it needs more water. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I do try to learn, and I know that blueberries like to have wet feet. It means that they like to be very moist, to be watered well. They like acidic soil. So I just watered it yesterday. Flying ahead, and I just watered this yesterday, so it may not be that it's dry, but then again it could be that my soil's not very acidic here. And here's my orange, navel orange, some lemongrass, some things I'm trying to grow. This is a little baby kumquat treeling. Here's my dwarf lime, from which what I had earlier. I watered this yesterday, and because it's in the ground, you don't have to water it as frequently as you water things that are in a pot, because things in the pots dry out really quick. And over there I have a caviar lime. The scent of the fruit is so wonderful. It's an exotic plant that I saw thrives in the humid conditions of Costa Rica. So hopefully it'll thrive here. It looks like it's dying back because it doesn't have very many leaves like it did when I bought it last year. And it is very, very thorny, guys. But it has a lot of really tiny scented fruit. So I'm going to keep an eye on that and keep taking care of it, babying it. There's my blood orange. The other orange that I said is a navel orange. It's actually the Cara pinkish flesh variety. Here's some more green onions. Here are some volunteer what do you call those? I'll get back to you on those. I can't think of them right now. I grew them last year here. Here's my first apple that I planted in this area, and it's the Jonah Gold, and I love the apple. My favorite is the Envy apple, and then second to that is the Honey Crisp. So far, they keep coming up with varieties that I will try and see what happens. Here's my blueberry plant, and last year it had fruit, and it's an early fruiting variety, so that's why it's very abundant. Over here I have some mint in a pot, and over there I have a galangal, and my banana tree. Oh my goodness, I thought it was going to die. It was so lush and tall last year, and it just kept dying back. I think it had too much water from the rains and too much shade. It's coming back, thank goodness. And this one, I am afraid that it might just go completely. This is all that's left of it. So we'll see. So it kind of looks janky in this part because it's really hard to walk through, and it's the farthest part away from my house. So let's go to this area here. You know what? I think I'm going to cover the other part of my yard in the next video. This one's going on way too long, and my throat is getting really hoarse. Okay, so thank you for watching.